All right, welcome to the show, folks. Welcome to each and every one of you. We're starting into a musical show for just a second, but good to have you guys here. Great to have each and every one of you. Share the live, smash that emoji button. Good to have you folks here. How you all doing out there, guys? How you all doing? How you all doing? We need to know. We got to know. Good to see Rose Capel is here and Donna McDonald. Debbie Collins is here with your fast self and Leon Blair, he fast too. Diane Fordyce, Shireen Baines, Chevron McDonald. The McDonald's are here, folks. Good to have each and every one of you. Stacey and Stu will not be left out. She just rushed in to hear the people business, to hear the sesh. We're going to have with us today, folks, the chairman out of Region 10, Darren Adams, because Region 10 hot right now, folks. A lot going down in Region 10. One young man is fighting for his life as we speak. And we wish him all the best. Speedy recovery. We're going to talk about that just now. Thoughts and prayers with his family. Lots happening in Linden. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But good to have you here, Claire Alexis, Charmley Richmond, Stacey Ann. Good to have you, Shireen, and all the other folks who are joining us. We are privileged, folks. We are privileged to have all of you. Great to have you. Let us know if you're receiving our audio loud and clear. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I see Stacey Ann and Diane Primo. Good afternoon to you and Debbie Collins. Jenny's Booker. Glycis Bingo Burns. Good to have you there. Glycis and Ayasha Natasha Duke. Good day to you as well. And all the other folks joining us. Great to see you. Margaret Nelson. Good to have you, Margaret. How you doing? Great to have Margaret stopping by. Shireen, Chevron, all the S's. Stacey Ann. All the S's clear. Good to have you. Good to have you folks here with us. Great to have you guys here. How you all doing, man? Do let us know. You all don't be strangers. Let us know how you all keeping. We are delighted to have you, beautiful, fantastic folks here with us. We love it. We love it. Love when you guys come by. Again, great to have each and every one of you, wherever you beautiful, fantastic people joining us from. We are delighted, more than delighted, and just happy to have each and every one of you guys with us. Good to see you folks. Good to see you folks. Happy to have you all here. Just happy to have you, beautiful, wonderful folks here with us. I see we have Shireen and Ram Singh back again. So nice. Got to do it twice. Dolly Anderson. Good to have you, Dolly and Chevron. Leon Blair is watching from Linden. Well, Leon, we're in your business now. We in your business today, Leon. Thanks for dropping by. Good to have you. You all hearing us? Yes. Chevron says loud and clear in Brooklyn. Good. Very soon we might be loud and clear from Brooklyn. John Ann, hint. Lizzie Simon, good to have you, Lizzie, and all the other guys who are joining us. Delighted. We are so delighted. I say, that you folks are here with us. I see Crane Alicia. Crane Alicia. Good to have you. Is Alicia Crane? Crane Alicia for now. Guys, we are happy you're here. Below the belt, who vex lose? I feel like hitting that bell right now. I feel like hitting the bell. Guys, let's get into some of what we're covering. Then we're going to have our guest dropping by. Look some of what we're covering, what's trending at this hour. Heather Gilhouse. Heather, good to have you. Welcome, Heather. Welcome, Heather. Welcome. Heather, see, got me tying myself up here. Soon as you land. Donna Joseph, good to have you. Donna and Dolly and Heather, good to have you folks with us this afternoon. We are delighted you guys are here. Delighted. Look, some of the stuff trending at this hour we want to share with you guys. There seems to be a little bit of confusion happening in the Democratic Party. Yep, you all know the President of the United States, Joe Biden, has not announced fully as yet whether or not he's going to be running again, but he's doing all the things that suggest he is running a second term. But where does Kamala Harris fit into all of that? Where does the current vice president fit into that scheme of things? Well, that has been the subject of discussion quite recently, as they told us that Elizabeth Warren made a comment that got some backlash about Ms. Harris, the Vice President Harris, and leading to Warren calling Vice President Harris twice. And the Vice President, it is said, has not returned those calls. So people are trying to wonder what exactly is happening here. Is she in? Is she out? Is she sideways? Yeah, and that's one of the headlines we see. That is one of the headlines we are seeing. And they tell us that on a local Boston radio show, Elizabeth Warren was enthusiastic about Joe Biden running for re-election, but asked if Biden should keep Harris as his running mate. She said, "I really want to defer to what makes Biden comfortable on his team." Right? That's what she said. Whatever makes Biden comfortable and his team. Yep, some people found that as insulting. Right? Some people found that as insulting. And one Democratic chair from one of the states went on to say that, let me make sure I get it right, making sure I have the notes correctly, right? That more or less that she's certain that Biden is going to be on that ticket. More or less that she's certain. I'm trying to make sure I give you valid, credible information. So I'm looking for my source. That's what got me at the back this week. Looking for my source. Right? But she seemed to suggest that Biden is on the ticket. And I'm trying to pull her comment directly. Right? They say that Harris, of course, is competent, capable, intelligent, and is an authentic leader of color. This is according to LaFonza Butler, a senior aide there in the White House. A senior aide. And I was looking for the comment in which this particular state chairperson said basically she has to be on the list. She has to be on the list, right? It is kind of a foregone conclusion. It's kind of a foregone conclusion that Harris is going to be on the list. But quite interesting developments nonetheless. And as you guys know, Harris has some representatives who are here, because they came yesterday up until the 14th, and they're going to be having discussions with not only with government, but with stakeholders on a range of issues. Right? They're going to be having those discussions on a wide range of issues, and we're going to keep you guys posted on that. We're going to keep you guys posted on that, how those meetings go. At the hour, those are the intentions. All right, and still scouring to see. Make sure I have my notes right here. Right? Cory Booker, for his part, I'm seeing, has said that Harris is an invaluable asset. Right? An invaluable asset. Yep. Cory Booker. Harris is an invaluable asset to the Biden presidency. So we're following that on that front. Following those issues on that front, good folks. Simone Graves says she better be on the list. Delvin Simpson, Delvin Simpson, Marilyn Lorimer, Shauna Wilson, and Simone should better be on the list. And then, folks, look at this new law that is taking effect in Bermuda. It is called the faultless divorce. Now, I want to give some of your ideas, eh? This is not meant to give some of your ideas. Kurashi Braffett, Marilyn Lorimer is not meant to give some of your ideas. But Bermuda, regionally, Bermuda, right, has a new policy concerning what they call faultless divorce. Faultless divorce. You hearing me? Faultless divorce. And here is how that is going down. Faultless divorce, where that is concerned. Here's what they're aiming at. Here is what they're aiming at in Bermuda on this whole notion of faultless divorce. And they're telling us that starting today, the 13th day of March, applicants and their representatives, applicants and their legal representatives, that is, can commence matrimonial proceedings in the Supreme Court for divorce, nullity of marriage, that sounded odd, nullity of marriage, or judicial separation under the faultless divorce procedure. It's a new procedure that kicks off today. Faultless divorce procedure. That's the name of it. That's the name of the procedure. Faultless divorce. Right? The Bermuda Attorney General, Kathleen Simmons, recently said, right? She said the matrimonial policy, as it were, amends the Matrimonial Clause Act 1974. And here is what it aims to do, right? It is reforming the process of obtaining a divorce, nullity of marriage, or judicial separation. She said the stated policy aimed to reduce, and here it is now, aims to reduce family conflict during matrimonial proceedings by removing the unhelpful blaming and shaming associated with having to prove in court that the conduct of one of the parties is the cause of the breakdown in the marriage, and to correspondingly lower the cost of obtaining a divorce. What do you guys think about that? So the Bermudans are not aiming to blame and shame by having to find some fault. Right? So you don't have to say, oh, he did cheat and, he did spend out my money and just to get out. Blameless. But rather faultless divorce. And they want to lower the cost. Right? They want to lower the cost. Irwin Dunn, is that question for me? Martin Lorimer? Faultless divorce. You don't need a cause. You just go inside. I tired of Magnell. I tired of Shireen and Dolly. I want to go. Please release me. Let me go. I tired of Lester. Tired of George. You don't need a fault. You don't need to say George can't cook. He can't wash. You see? Yes, I done with he. Let me out. Let me out. That is what it aims to do. Bermuda. That is what Bermuda aims to do. All right? That's what he aims to do. That's what he aims to do. And very quickly, I got my guest percolating in the back. I want to head to my guest. You all remember the accident at Collagen quite recently? You all remember that? Well, legal advice is being sought as to what the police should do where charges are concerned. Where charges are concerned, what should the law do? How should they proceed? As to the charges for the truck driver, now you're hearing a lot of things here. There's a fifth victim. I'm being made to understand. Right? A fifth victim. All right. Sorry, I'm mixing up my stories. Apologies there. All right. This is the story where the young lady on the electric bike, right, where the pillion rider succumbed to that accident there. Maria Mohammed. That's the photograph we're showing you there. Right? They were hit by this truck, and the police is waiting for direction. Truck driven by Rickford Beckles. They're waiting for direction from the DPP, right, on the charges for the driver. Justice sometimes takes a long time in this place. Justice takes a long time. And then finally, folks, they're telling us what we started talking about this morning about this shooting in Linden. A policeman is involved. Shot in his head, they tell us, and is battling for his life. Now, thoughts and prayers go out towards him. They say, battling for his life. And I want to caution you, because we have some footage coming out from his hospital room. And we really want to say our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, friends and loved ones, and to him. We hope, he can pull through this. We hope he can pull through this. And take a look, and say a prayer for our brother.
Jesus, help me. God help me now.
Say a prayer for our brother. Say a prayer for our brother. Folks, I'm happy to have with us today the chairman out of Region 10, the one and only Chairman Darren Adams. And I really want to thank Chairman Adams, who always avails himself whenever we ask for some clarity on any issue, for him to come and let us know what's happening in the region. Always makes himself available. I really want to thank him, and for all the hard work he's doing out there. All of the hard work he's doing out there. Chairman Adams, a very good day and welcome
Hey,
to our podcast.
good afternoon, Sherrod, and thank you for having me here on your program. It's a pleasure.
Well, I'm happy to have you. We're happy to have you. We wish it was on the better circumstances, but Linden has been in the news headlines since 2 Sundays ago. We had coming out from MASH and those issues there, and you're still in the headlines. Let's start with the one we just covered. This shooting incident in Linden overnight. What do you know? Any updates?
Well, so far, and I would have just seen NCN and Info 10, they would have put out a statement where, unfortunately, it's a police sergeant who was shot to the head. And we're being told via the media that he was shot by his cousin. And for those of you who know the family, the name here seems to be that of the McCrae, Fawaz McCrae. I suspect that this is a family member of a known activist and businessman here in Region 10, McCrae General Store. Our thoughts and prayers are, of course, with their family. And we're saddened at the developments that occurred within the past 24 hours, and by extension, what has happened over the past 72 hours here in the region. Um, but, I just ask that we all keep the family in our thoughts and prayers, and that he gets a speedy recovery.
Chairman Adams, like you said, they're telling us here, I'm picking up now on some of the recent um, uh, headlines that are percolating. 32-year-old sergeant of police, German Sample, is the person who was shot, allegedly by, as you say, it falls, McCrae, 27,
Yeah.
a building contractor, they say, of Central Amelia's ward. Do you have a sense what may have led to this shooting incident?
Well, I do not. I suspect, and as the media reports carried, that it may have been some misunderstanding. I'm being told that they are related. It's two cousins, which is, this is just sad. Um,
And the
we,
fact that he was shot in his head, my
yeah.
God.
The thing is that I know Mr. McCrae. I've seen him several times. I know that he too is aligned to the governing party, and
The
on the
businessman
yeah,
with the
the
general
business.
store?
Yes, yes. I mean, while this is a sad moment, we have been speaking out publicly. We have seen the emergence of death squads. We've seen a return of corruption at all levels of society. And so, what we have now, in my opinion, is a hopeless population among our young people, our youth. When we look at the increase in the criminal activity that is occurring, all I can say to people across the world listening to the podcast is to pray for Region 10, pray for Linden, pray for Guyana on a whole.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Indeed. Thanks for the information on the update on that front. And let us turn our attention to what is happening well, before we get there, there was another accident. There was an accident over the weekend involving a Linden taxi driver. That's
Yeah,
another issue we have our attention at, rather our attention on. They said that the young man was speeding in the vicinity of Long Creek. Now, this is, let me make sure I have his name right, Darren Henry, 41. There's young people.
yeah. Well, those following the RDC 10 page would have seen us put out a statement. Within the past 72 hours, we have lost, I think, about five well-known, popular people,
Mhm.
persons in Linden. It's sad. Our thoughts and prayers go out to all of them. And of course, we would have issued a statement, which I would just like to reference quickly, where I
Go
mentioned
right ahead.
that the Regional Democratic Council of Region 10 mourns with the relatives and friends of several Lindeners who lost their lives over the course of the past few days. And we extend our heartfelt condolences to the families and their loved ones. However, the case of Mr. Neptrid Hercules, which I'm sure you will come to shortly, who is missing and presumed dead in an industrial accident that occurred some 48 hours ago, is cause for concern, which the Bosai Mining Company needs to address expeditiously. While the RDC Region 10 welcomes investment in our region and we value the economic benefits for our residents presented by these endeavors, every company operating in Region 10 must be held to a high standard with respect to caring for the welfare and occupational safety and health of its employees. Industrial accidents do happen, we acknowledge that, but the proper employment of occupational safety and health protocols and the accountability of supervisory and managerial staff for the employees operating under their guidance should remain paramount. In addition to this, any company with a social conscience would appreciate the fact that allowing 48 hours to elapse without an official public statement accounting for the events leading up to this incident and outlining what is being done on the search and rescue front is untenable. And I want to just pause there to say quickly, Sherrod, that the council, we are very concerned that with all the reports on this incident, both sides, well, I think they issued one late last night or early this morning. They were yet to inform the public in details on what are the standard procedures for rescue in mining incidents that occur, such as in the case of Mr. Hercules. From a preventative perspective, which I reference and speak of here, the
Uh-huh.
people need to understand what are the safety protocols in place in checking the safety and projected risk when attempting to mine in high risk areas. These are just some notes that I was just jotting down. Further, what are the protocols in identifying areas that are at high risk for mining accidents that the relevant safety mechanism may be undertaken? And so we hope that these things will be addressed. I'm told that there are several officials who came into the region. Unfortunately, none of them would have liaised down with the office here to inform us that they were coming into the region. The Minister of Labour, I think I saw images of the Prime Minister, his heir, and as well as the Minister of Public Works. So the RDC right now, besides the statements that we would have put out, we have not received any information either from BOSAI, from the Ministry of Labour, or anyone. But just to proceed with the statement, I just want the family and friends of Neptrid Hercules, as well as their elected representative of the Regional Democratic of Region 10, we need and demand an accounting of what has transpired and an explanation of the efforts going forward to address this tragedy. This lack of communication on the part of the bauxite mining industry and indeed the regulatory agencies such as the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, the Ministry of Labour, et al. On this situation is troubling, to say the least, and needs to be corrected immediately. Even as the situation unfolds, these agencies and both sides need to appreciate that the friends and family of Neptrid Hercules need to understand the process even as the investigation proceeds. As a council, we stood ready to lend our assistance when siltation of outfalls caused flooding on the dikes of the Carcara. When mined out areas released flood waters on the community of Tree Friends, we again stood ready to assist both sides and other agencies to not only address the situation, but to encourage understanding of relief efforts among our constituents. And so it is our hope that both sides recognizes the value of communicating with stakeholders as these emergencies are addressed to ensure that some semblance of understanding is occasioned. We also renew our call for much greater funding, training, and facilitation of our Region 10 Disaster and Preparedness Committee. It is readily apparent that in a region with so many heavy industrial undertakings in the form of forestry, mining, etc., an interagency approach is necessary. An interagency approach is necessary to address emergencies of this nature. This is not something that has not been done before, but the dearth of resources provided and seeming centralization of disaster response efforts make this a difficult undertaking currently. To be prepared to face these issues is understandably even more difficult. The RDC will continue to make the call for the empowerment of the Region 10 Disaster and Preparedness Committee so that we can return to the capability that saw us successfully rescue over 3,000 Guyanese from the coastline during the 2005 floods through the use of a strong and well-trained regional structure. And so in closing, as we approach the month of April, which will mark the observance of Occupational Safety and Health Month, we call for a renewal of emphasis on the observance of all of the safety and health regulations in the workplace, as well as the accountability of organizations and individuals when these are not sufficiently adhered to. In the aftermath of the demise of an employee in this manner, someone must be made accountable and systems put in place to prevent recurrence as we work towards safeguarding our most precious resource, our people. Once again, our sincere condolences are again extended to the relatives and friends of the deceased as Linden and Region 10 again rallies together to offer support and solace to the bereaved.
Yep. Well said on behalf of the Regional Democratic Council Region 10. And that, a large part of that pertained to this bulldozer operator, Neptune Fortune, Neptune Hercules rather, who an initial report said yesterday the bulldozer he was operating with him in it fell off a cliff. That seemed, you know. What is your own making of this on the ground there? What you
Well,
may have heard.
as I said, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Um, this is not the first time. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, while it is that we welcome investment in our region and we value economic benefits for our residents here and the endeavors that many of the companies embark on, this is unfortunate. I mean, it is readily apparent that in a region with so many heavy duty industrial undertakings in the form of
Mhm.
mining, etc., Sherrod, and the various interagency approach, um, we are not prepared for this. And so it is necessary that we address emergencies of this nature that the Ministry of Labor should have by now been able to put together a team to find out and to release statements to the public as to, why was this allowed to happen? Is it a case that the Chinese company Bosai is not following guidelines that are given by geology and mines or the Ministry of Labor? How is it that a worker life can be placed at such a risk that the machine cannot? I mean, they've been searching since yesterday, and the fact that they can't find this piece of equipment,
A bulldozer.
it's just sad.
Yep. And one of the first things we want to say is how big the GDP is and how many shore bases and the billions and the billions. But what is all of that if a bulldozer falls off a cliff into a mining area, and might as well the bulldozer and the operator had fallen into space because
Yeah.
they can be found.
Yep.
I want to show you some of what MP German Forgiver showed us last night on the ground, because it seemed, at least apparent to them, that the search and rescue was terminated a little early yesterday, much to the displeasure of some folks there, and a protest erupted on the ground there. I want to show our viewers some of that, Chairman Adams, and then we come back on the other side and I get your thoughts. Maybe you can expand on some of what you hear out of that protest.
So apparently the protest, the search rather, for the buried worker stopped around 6 p.m. this afternoon. And the protesters were informed that the search is going to be continuous. It's going to be continuous until they discover the body. What we were told moments ago, that while we were out here, while we accommodated the Bosai bus to take the workers in to relieve the search team, we were told, apparently we were lied to, because the search stopped and the protesters stopped the truck from entering the Bosai compound, having heard what would have transpired, having been deceived by some of these workers at Bosai. So people are very angry with what they would have discovered. It's amazing that this search ended since 6. It's disappointing. I can't believe this search ended at 6.
Why the lighters over there for the same?
And Jeffsy come for light and all them make me run.
Because they're making people
Yes, stripping this.
They don't sell me.
So the protesters are still out here, disappointed, that they were misled to. They were misled, they were lied to, they were misinformed deliberately. So this is his aunt, Tearup's aunt, who's broken down emotionally, having heard that the search team ended their efforts around 6 this afternoon. Very sad situation. Very sad situation. Very sad situation.
What time they go find me? By the time they find me, rotten and stink. I used to walk up, nothing man coming out there. We come out there, scarf. Are you walk? Mommy school them come car, you love this car, man. And I hear them say they're gonna find a blast car. I don't have it.
There we have it. The emotions of the people at Linden. And one could ask the question, why is it protest is the only thing we seem to understand? Why can't we just do what is right? Chairman Adams.
So, Sherrod, it's a sad situation. I mean, this was a former staff of BOSAI. I mean, the fact that you're seeing the family out there, one has to now answer or ask the question if any official from BOSAI would have been in constant contact with them. I mean, it took 48 hours for a statement to come out. It's a sad situation. I can only offer my thoughts and prayers with the family and ask that the people of Region 10 that we bind together and give them all of the support that we can at this point in time. But going forward, there definitely needs to be a better approach in terms of training, in terms of how we respond, especially when these search and rescue attempts are being executed.
Yeah. It's just very, very heartrending to see that you have to come out, you gotta block traffic, you gotta raise your voice just to have something as basic as looking out for an employee.
Yeah, but one of the other things I want to make mention of quickly, Sherrod, is if it was that the Ministry of Labor was doing their job, I am sure, because workers have been complaining of the conditions under which they work, they're forced to work. And this extends to other mining companies, whether Rusal or the other AGM company, that many of our young people, unfortunately, they have to work under. And so we know there's a Department of Labor here in the region. We know that there's officers who are attached here. Very soon we'll be celebrating Occupational Safety and Health Month, as I would have put in the statement. Why is it that we are more, we always got to react to something? how are these people allowed to continue to work, and workers are forced to work under these circumstances, and only when it reaches to the point where somebody dies, you see everybody running in, and trying to, scramble for a few things, and this is unfortunate.
And people say boat gonna falls.
Yeah,
That's really what's happening here. Boat gonna fall. And had this not happened, you would see next month you got all the
yeah,
platitudes, all the photo ops, as though everything is working right, but everything is not, as you mentioned.
yeah. The Minister of Labor visits this region every as often as possible. He's here every other month or so. Whether it's coming in to do stuff with Board of Industrial Training, and I'm saying, as we approach, as I mentioned, the month of April, which marks the observance of Occupational Safety and Health Month, we have to call for a renewal of the emphasis on the observance of all the safety and health regulations in the workplace. We know there's an office here. What has the staff been doing in Region 10? That you can have an excavator with a life, a human being working, and around them, the protocols are not being followed. And you have workers and other folks at both sides covering it up, making it appear as though everything is fine. And now when it results in a death, everybody comes for a PR stunt and try to make it appear as though they're genuinely concerned about the people of Region 10.
Yeah, yeah. If there was genuine concern, I dare say that the systems would have been working and would have been insisting, and the companies would have been insisting that the
Exactly.
protocols are followed.
Exactly.
Now, I don't know the landscape there, but I see a lot of people making the comment: how does a tractor, how does a bulldozer and a human life just disappear,
So
right?
so from what I was able to gather, these mining areas for bauxite, um, and I don't want to comment too much because I don't have all of the details, but just picture that these operations you're occurring in an area where you're mining feet down. It's kind of like and that's how many of the Blue Lakes develop. It's
Hmm.
out areas, they're very deep. In fact, one official was just saying to me here in the office that when those equipment are working down at the bottom of the mining pits, they kind of look like ants. That's how deep it is.
Wow,
So if that machine canted over and fell into that section,
wow.
that's disappear. Unfortunately, I don't want to say it, but it's a difficult task. I would be very surprised, and I would really love for them to recover that body. But it's going to be a challenge. Now, who is
Hmm.
going to go? Other staff there. Who is going to go and risk their life to go there when it's more like a soft area there, and that machine may likely keep sinking?
Hmm.
Who are you going to get to go there now to risk their life to continue digging deeper and deeper? I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but had we put systems in place to even prevent that fella from going in that area, we would not have been in this position. And both sides has to take responsibility for this.
Hmm. And I'm almost certain, again, as we have this discussion, that this kind of industrial accident in this setting is not something that has never happened before. And so the tools exist somewhere, but clearly we didn't bother with that.
Yeah. Well,
Clearly we didn't bother with that. But again, we're gonna watch and see. Much like when you have domestic violence on a regular basis, it's just like it's another day, same story. But you had International Women's Day, and you see everybody in the form, true to form.
but but
With the
Trevor,
photo ops.
just
Next month, it's gonna be the same thing.
just shifting a bit.
Uh-huh.
A typical case in point. We have raised our concerns with many of our students, for example, having to traverse the Berbice River to and from school. Now, these are school children you're talking about. And yet, as recent as last week, I am getting photos coming to my phone of school children traveling to and from school in boats with no life jacket on.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like we keep going in circles. You raise an issue, and maybe they might correct it for the first week, and then bops, you fall back. Pocketory again.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And the sad thing about it is that these are human lives.
Yep. School
Every,
children.
yeah, 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 yeah. And this is the sad thing because I saw in some areas I saw a deliberate effort, which is good, to share life jackets,
Yeah.
right? Maybe that kind of initiative has to extend to some of the areas where you are,
Yeah.
Araima and so on,
Yeah.
where the school children use boat to get to school and all of that. And they've been complaining too, as you're on that issue, Mr. Chairman, of capacity, saying that, because of the limitation of the boats they have,
Yeah.
at the time it takes to make a trip, some of these kids are packed into that boat.
So let me address that quickly. Now, I believe when one government does something or creates a sensible policy, it is the responsibility of any other administration to carry on with that policy. So we created the 5Bs program, boats, buses, bicycles, etc. One would have thought that in addition to the boats that were delivered to the Berbice River and the Demerara River here, that they would have continued to build on that and fund and provide resources. You're spending oil resources now, or oil money, add additional boats and buses to the area, not leave them to dry rot and the engines to fail because you don't want to repair them. And I saw images of the buses in Bartica and even
Yeah,
I became
yeah,
regional chairman. A bus was parked just for a minor problem. And we had to say to them, listen, I will take the bus, repair it, and put it on the road. And
yeah,
immediately you saw them get into gear and try to, take command of it and put it out. But when one administration does something good, don't condemn it, continue it. Provide more boats, provide buses, provide bicycles, and even the breakfast that the children are now receiving. We're getting complaints that people are being served with things that are spoiled. And this is what you're giving to our children? That's ridiculous, man.
it is indeed. It is indeed. We are going to continue to monitor this situation. I see a headline that says that they have stopped work at Bosai to facilitate the continued search. And we're going to continue to keep our ears in the ground and hope for the best. But as you said, based on the nature of this accident, it'll be nothing short of a miracle, if a different outcome is had. I mean, we all want one thing, but on the circumstances, it'll take nothing short of a miracle.
Yep.
Final thoughts, Mr. Chairman, as
Just,
we wrap
just,
up.
just I ask that the entire country come together and pray for the families, pray for our region. You are seeing what is happening. Um, this requires, I want to call on the religious community, particularly the Linden Evangelical Ministers Fellowship, which comprises of the churches and all the other faiths, to come together and pray for Region 10 in this most difficult and unfortunate situation that we are faced with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Unfortunate indeed, difficult as well.
I
Thank
think
you so much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you
just
so much.
before I go, I want to say how proud I am of the vice chairman. Yesterday we had the Mashramani celebrations in Kokwani, and despite many of the requests for support and funding from the administrative arm of the RDC not being honored as yet, we were able to ensure that the people of Kokwani enjoyed their celebration, their Mashramani celebration. And I once again call on support to be given to the sub-region 2 area, where they too can feel a part of Region 10 and not feel as though they are neglected or left out of our planning, etc. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that update, Mr. Chairman. Thanks very much.
All right.
Folks, we've been talking with the regional chairman of region number 10, the region chairman Darren Adams, who've been bringing us up to speed with some of the events on the ground there, the both side issue, that shooting incident last evening, that accident over the weekend, and now on the Mashramani front with what happened at Kokwani over the weekend as well. We thank you for spending this time with us. We're going to take our leave here and join you guys back this evening in our other program, In the Ring. Thank you guys for stopping by. And I want to let you guys know that we can only do these programs because of your love and your support and your generosity. And for that, we say, guys, if you want to be a part of moving these programs forward, partner with us. We are available via Cash App and Zelle, PayPal, MMG, MoneyGram, and Western Union as well. You have any queries, 627-6963. And that's how we keep these programs moving forward, bringing you valid and credible information. Thanks for joining us. We're going to see you guys right back here this evening in the ring, folks. If you guys have a story for us, you have some information you want to share with us, 627-6963. 627-6963. And if you guys have a business you want to get noticed, you have a product or service, you have an event, advertise with us as well. You got some space right here for you folks. 627-6963. I want to thank the regional chairman again for coming on our program on such short notice and giving us guidance on these myriad issues. Thank you so much, Mr. Vice Chair Darren Adams out of Region 10. That's it for us, guys. Stay safe. See you guys right back here this evening in the ring. Stay safe, folks, and thanks for joining our podcast, Below the Belt. Who vex lose, who vex vex. Stay safe.